and welcome to episode 19 of the Two Average Guys Sport Podcast. Just a couple average dudes talking about sports. No former playing experience, no former management experience, literally two average dudes. My name is Sam. This is my co-host here, Espen. Espen, how are we doing today, man?
We're doing good. It's a nice 85 degrees here in Lawrence, Kansas, and then it's going to be 25 and snowing this weekend. Love to see it.
So what's the temperature tomorrow? Isn't it like in the 40s?
So we got 85, or we had 45 yesterday, 85 today, 45 tomorrow, and then like 25 and snow and ice on Monday. So it's it's just another week living in the Midwest. So
yeah, another week for sure. But today we have some great NBA news, MLB, NFL, college football, as well as our bets of the week. Shall we go ahead and get started?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so NBA, we obviously haven't been talking about as much. The season ended, nothing really to it. But we did hire another head coach. Well, not us, but the Pelicans did. They hired Stan Van Gundy. I'm going to start off with this. I'm not a fan of this move at all. I never thought he was a great head coach. I'm sure people will disagree with me, but what are your thoughts?
I am not going to be one of those people who disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. No matter where he's gone, he's just not a great. He doesn't produce the results that elevate franchises. You've seen with the Magic. He did take the Magic to the finals though, so I will give him that.
Yes.
But they did have a stacked team with Dwight Howard. Coached the Pistons, didn't do anything with them. The Pelicans, the Pelicans, they don't have a super great roster to begin with, and I just don't see him elevating them to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, I think, last week. We think a coach like Brett Brown would probably have been good there. They have a lot of young players. Brett Brown is one of those coaches who is good at, kind of making players, putting players in certain places and teaching them to win. But I don't think that Stan Van Gundy's the guy. I'm sure Zion's going to ask for a trade within the next 2 days because Stan Van Gundy got hired.
Stan Van Gundy is like your loud, obnoxious family member who just doesn't shut up at the Thanksgiving dinner table. That's what he reminds me of. Am I right?
He wants the turkey leg too, though, and if he doesn't get it, he's gonna kill someone.
Yeah, I've always just found him incredibly annoying. Just my personal opinion, but
him and Mike D'Antonio, I just can't stand as head coaches.
D'Antoni, it's not D'Antonio.
D'Antonio, Dan Antoni, it doesn't matter. D'Antonio doesn't have a job.
Ouch.
Can't argue with that logic.
That's true, yeah.
But going from the NBA to the MLB, World Series talk, Game 1 happened. I just want to throw this out there. Mookie Betts has earned us a free taco from Taco Bell, so shout out to Mookie Betts. Kershaw, who you said on Monday, I believe. Come on, man.
I said congrats to the Tampa Bay Rays before the game started. But Kershaw proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong, I think. He's like we had this talk. I asked you, is he the worst postseason pitcher of all time? I think he was watching the show. That's why he pitched so good. He watched our show. So.
Yeah, I mean, he might have because he went 6 innings strong, allowed 2 hits, only 1 run. I think it was a home run, and then he struck out 8. And that's vintage Kershaw to me. I mean, that's just shout out to the Dodgers taking Game 1.
Yeah, and then going into Game 2, the bats woke up for Tampa Bay. Brandon Lau, he went ham. He had a couple of home runs. The bats were working for Tampa on Wednesday. So we have an even series now heading into tonight's game on Friday. We think would you say this is going to probably be a back and forth series? Like no team is going to win 2 consecutive games.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being that way. I just see both of these teams. I feel like it's going to be just 1-1, 1-1, blah, 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 blah. What are your thoughts? Do you see a team winning 2 games in a row?
I don't know because I've been obviously after Game 1 I'm like, does Tampa really belong here? And then Game 2, does LA belong here? So it's just one of those. It's one of those series. It's going to be fun for the casual fan. I saw kind of a depressing stat though. This was the least watched World Series Game 1 in a long time. It may have been history. I'm not surprised either. We've kind of touched on the subject before. Baseball's on the decline. NFL's playing right now, and it's not the sexiest matchup either, if I'm being honest.
I am gonna absolutely agree with you by all means, but I hate to say it, we joke on Tampa not being a sports city, but the truth be told is it's not. The fans don't seem to be getting into the sports, and that's fine. They need to move to a city like Cleveland, or not, excuse me, not Cleveland, Las Vegas, a team that has energy. I mean, or a city that has energy. And you look at some of the MLB teams are located, and it's not energy. They can move to Charlotte. Charlotte would be a great fan base because neither South Carolina or North Carolina has a team. So I think staying in Tampa is just not the move. I struggle with it.
The thing though is if they win a World Series, they're going to be sticking around in Tampa for a long time.
No one's going to show up to the parade, even though it's Florida. But
I mean, won't they though? Since they don't care about COVID. I mean, I think they would.
COVID's not real to Florida people, man. It's a hoax.
Florida once again shining as a state, showing why they're the Sunshine State.
Florida man does this. Florida man does that. Going from MLB to our Saturday action, college football. To start with the news, to say the least, Roddy White, who is a former NFL receiver, really believes that Trevor Lawrence should stay at Clemson another year if the Jets get the first pick. What are your thoughts?
So you could compile a pros and cons list for Trevor Lawrence. Pros, you're going to New York, which is arguably one of the coolest cities to live in. Cons, you're playing for the Jets. You're playing for a crap organization. You're playing for potentially Adam Gase, who, if he's still there, the coach next year.
He's going to get fired.
You have no offensive line. You have no weapons now because you got rid of your last weapon with Le'Veon Bell. So congratulations.
They have Jamison Crowder.
Okay, cool.
I was trying to be optimistic here. It's not working.
But you can stay in college for another year. You know, enjoy that warm South Carolina life at Clemson, and probably win another national championship. So that or he gets or he demands a trade. Like we thought with Joe Burrow, like people were like, how is Joe Burrow going to possibly go to the Bengals? You know, I think it was.
Well, that's the thing. The Bengals had weapons. They have AJ Green. Yeah. They have Tyler Boyd, I believe. They have T. Higgins. Like, they have weapons. The Jets have no one.
And I mean, it looks like he's working. I mean, he's adapted to their system really well. I mean, they play a different offense than LSU. You know, LSU was really fast paced. They had a ton of weapons. They wanted to move the ball quickly. Where Cincinnati, it's a little bit slowed down a bit, which you can debate.
It's usually the other way around, actually, which is kind of unique.
Yeah, but what do you think? You think he should stay at LSU or Clemson?
I think you have to go to the NFL, because when the NFL comes knocking, I firmly believe that even though it's the Jets, they can't suck forever. Now, that being said, it's the Jets, so they probably could. But what I think will happen is, if I had to guess, the Jets are going to trade Sam Darnold for probably like a third-round pick because he's not first-round quality, and he showed that. And I think if they what they need to do is build an offensive line. That's point A. Point B is, okay, maybe you can build around Sam Darnold and build an offensive line. And if that's the case, you're giving up the number one picks for an offensive lineman, and it's really unheard of. Or what you do is you trade the first-round picks to someone else. I would not be surprised if he goes to the NFL, as he should. But you could argue both ways.
Conspiracy time. Matt Ryan to the Jets. Atlanta gets the number one pick, and they draft Trevor Lawrence.
That's something they would do. They have Joe Flacco. I mean, Flacco sucks, but
Flacco's like, he's got to be, 50 years old right now?
He's got to be up there. He has gray hair for sure.
Yeah.
He's old. Also in college football talk, LSU, speaking about Joe Burrow, banned Odell Beckham for like 2 years because he threw $100 bills after the national championship game.
I remember watching that video after they won the Natty back in January this year. And I just remember him throwing bills at the players and just giving them money. I'm just like, wait, is this just going to go unnoticed? Is this just like some kind of prank? And then the NCAA, of course, has to be assholes and get involved. And they decided to ruin Odell Beckham visits to LSU in the future. So do you like this move, or?
It's so dumb.
Just let him have fun. I mean, those LSU guys got Maseratis and Lamborghinis to come there, so it's just, I mean, $100 isn't much to them.
I mean, $100 is nothing to them, because you know what? They're eating steak and lamb chops for dinner. Like,
crawfish.
Shit, NCAA. Yeah, no, a little crawfish action. And then, I mean, I guess in a more serious subject, but not really, NIL vote is coming in January, the name, image, and likeness. For those of you that don't know what this is, essentially players can make their own brands and get money for it. They just can't use a school's name. That's it.
I'm all for the name,
Oh,
image, likeness.
absolutely.
I mean, how can you not be against this? I mean, these top athletes with how much money their college football and college basketball bring in, they should have some kind of benefit.
Yeah, I mean, even at like the schools, for women's sports, like women's basketball in Connecticut or
UConn.
Tennessee, Yukon, Connecticut, whatever, it's same thing. Thank you, Mr. Grammar person. um, yeah, a little grammar doctor action.
Yeah,
It's just it's so dumb that they can't earn money for their like own name. It's
yeah.
annoying.
Also, NCAA video games for us.
NCAA football 2021, 2022.
We haven't had we
Oh,
haven't had football since 14. We haven't had college basketball since 2010. So
that is
it,
terrible.
we need some fun.
But we don't need college basketball or college baseball or anything. We don't need that. No one cares about that. Sorry, no one cares
No.
about that. Give me the top games of the week.
So yeah, previewing this weekend's big games. Big Ten's back, so we got the Big Ten starting this weekend. Big game at noon Eastern. Nebraska traveling to the Shoe at the Ohio State University. Ohio State will pummel the
The
Cornhuskers.
Oh, absolutely. I hope Ohio State slaughters them. Nebraska's head coach, no, not Ryan Day. I don't remember his name. Scott Foster.
Scott Frost.
Scott Frost. The dude was making an idiot out of Kobe. He's like, well, after the Big Ten, we're going to leave. Like, dude, you're not leaving the Big Ten.
I can't cheer for Ohio State though. I cheer against Ohio State's up there for me for like with Alabama for college football.
Oh, I love Ohio State, but I also love Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Next big game.
Pretty big 12 game. Number 17 Iowa State traveling to Stillwater to take on number 6 Oklahoma State. I need this for my college football pick, my preseason pick. Oklahoma State, I think they continue to roll, and I think they get the dub.
I know you predicted it. It surprised me, but they just keep climbing up the ranks, and they could.
My dumbass said Clemson would miss the playoff this year.
Yeah, that came around to bite you in the ass.
Yeah,
You skipped an ACC matchup, though, the Battle of North Carolina. Number 23, NC State, versus previously number 5, now number 14, North Carolina. North Carolina. It's a really good game on paper, but
I think North Carolina bounces back, and they're still a great team. They just got they played Florida State, so they got upset. So we'll have to see.
Give me the next Big Ten.
Yeah, I believe College Game Day is here for this other ranked matchup that we have. Number 18 Michigan and number 21 Minnesota. And what are you doing?
Big Ten, baby. Big Ten. Put on the binoculars.
The Big Ten +4 with 14 teams. Does Michigan Jim Harbaugh get off to another rocky start and lose at Minnesota, or does Michigan get the win?
Michigan loses. I can't stand him I think he's a great head coach, and I'm sure he is. I just can't stand what he's done at Michigan. He complains every year after his team loses a bullshit game to like fucking Northwestern or something. So it's just, sorry for using the F word. My apologies. It annoys me because he literally complains after every single time. And the fact that he's still there after not beating Ohio State, he's like 0-7 against them now. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Michigan though. But then going into our next game, this arguably is the best, matchup this weekend with the rankings. Number 9 versus number 16, Cincinnati traveling to SMU. I'm gonna go Bearcats. I think Cincinnati gets the road win.
I go SMU. I love the city of Dallas. I've driven by SMU's campus. That's about my closest connection to it, driving by the campus. But I think SMU is one of those teams this year, and I don't think Cincinnati's about it. I think they're fake as hell. It's like, when a girl wears makeup, it's just fake. Maybe not the best description, but.
Do we know anything about these two teams? Nope. Are we just guessing? Yep.
SMU's quarterback is Shea Bichelle, who was a former Texas Longhorn, so.
Well, shocking. You go with the Texas team, so.
Whoop-de-doo. And then our underrated games of the week. Number 3, Notre Dame at Pittsburgh. I have Notre Dame losing because they played Louisville awfully close, and Louisville's just not good. I have Pittsburgh.
A complete opposite happens. Notre Dame blows Pittsburgh out of the building. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if Pittsburgh wins. So.
Then we got we have to include Ole Miss in this segment because Lane Kiffin is like a god.
He's awesome.
I mean,
he's awesome. He's just awesome.
Yeah, he's just up there as greatest head coaches of all time. I think he's better than Saban. I mean, you could argue he's better than Saban. Auburn at Ole Miss. I don't really care about this game. I just love Nick. Love Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, Auburn. I guess if I had to pick Auburn.
Yeah, it's not a game that matters. Just Lane Kiffin is. Yeah. You go to church to worship him in Mississippi. Next Big 12. Go ahead.
Yeah, two teams who are unranked, which I think last year they were both top 20 when they played each other. Oklahoma at TCU. I think Oklahoma, their season gets back on its wheels, and Boomer Sooner, they start rolling again. So I'm gonna go Sooners.
I think TCU in the opposite. Don't get me wrong. Spencer Rattler is a good quarterback. He's just young. He's inexperienced. TCU, obviously it's Texas, so they don't really care how many fans are actually at the game. TCU played Texas closely. I think TCU has a shot in this one.
Yeah,
it's 50-50, obviously, but
I mean that will probably be that could be the final. That could be the score going into overtime, 50-50, because there'll be no defense. But
yeah, well, from one Big 12, no defense to the SEC, no defense. South Carolina at LSU. Coach, what is it? Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron. There was a picture floating around with him and a woman, so I didn't see anything.
A much younger woman at that.
After he divorced his wife of 23 years, so rip.
Shout out to Coach Ed Orgeron. He's living his life. Go Tigers.
Yeah, hit him with that crawfish. Not a game that I care about, but South Carolina in the upset.
Never camping against my guy Ed. Go Ed. Go LSU.
He's 1-2 on the year.
Well, they lost half their team to COVID in the NFL. You know, it's a rebuilding year.
Fair enough. From Saturdays to Sundays, if you didn't hear about it, the Ravens added another former Pro Bowl, not All-Star, defensive end. I don't know how to pronounce the name. He played in Jacksonville, and then he went to Minnesota, and now he's on the Ravens. But yeah, Ravens stacking up on defense to go against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Not going to lie, I completely missed that, so I don't know who you're talking about, but good for them.
It was – hold on, I'll look it up. Go ahead with the next news.
This was some pretty big news. Seattle is looking to go after Antonio Brown after his 8-game suspension is up. Antonio Brown has been the biggest wild card in the NFL last couple of years. He was originally supposed to play for the Raiders, had that whole helmet controversy, then spiraled out of control. I think he's going through a lot of mental health issues. And then he gets onto the Patriots roster, plays – what's his name? Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was a former Pro Bowler. But yeah, Antonio Brown.
And then he was, like I said, he was on the Patriots for a game.
2 games, 1 or 2 games. He played against the Dolphins, had like 7 catches and a touchdown. That was it.
Yeah, I forget why he was. Why was he kicked out the Patriots again?
I think it was a domestic violence thing in Florida.
That's right, yeah.
But
that's right.
Do you like this move? Because they have Tyler Lockett, who's arguably one of the best slot receivers and now kind of outside receivers. And then on the other side, they have DK Metcalf. Do you like this? I think he's just a head case in the making.
I don't understand why teams still want to try and deal with him. And especially Seattle, when their offense is already so good. They work really well together. You have Russell Wilson you can even throw Chris Carson in the mix. They use him as some screen passes. So you have 3 legitimate receivers there. I don't see why, if you're Seattle, why you would go after him. If you're the Jets, go after him because you need all the help you can get.
Yeah, it's just not a good move. I don't like it. That's it. From one wide receiver to the next, though, Dez Bryant, former Dallas Cowboy, to the Ravens practice squad, if I shall say. He just needs to pass his physical. I actually like this move. Other than Marquise Brown, it doesn't seem like the Ravens have a lot of threats, and I think this could actually be a decent enough addition.
Yeah.
And Dez Bryant, I know he's been rumored to be a head case, and I'm sure he is a little bit, but I think he seems to be a little bit more stable than Antonio Brown.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't been the biggest Des Bryant fan. He went to Oklahoma State and he played against Kansas, and the 2 years Kansas was actually good. I remember he was shit talking so much to the Kansas team, and Aqib Talib absolutely just torched him when they played. And I just never liked him on the Cowboys. Just never liked his mentality and didn't like the way he went about himself. But he suffered a horrible injury, but it's good for him if he's trying to make a comeback.
Yeah, for sure. And then go ahead, take it with our last NFL news before we get to the picks.
Yeah, so the Vegas Raiders O-line, boy, you are in for a show. Viva Las Vegas, baby! Let's go. It's the new next and brightest newest show on the Vegas Strip. The O-line is very high risk COVID. Jonathan Abram, who is a safety, has COVID, and not much else to say. But good luck to the Raiders. You are screwed.
This is the offensive lineman on the Raiders just going down one by one. Just down.
Like you're just going down like your dollars at slot machines in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it is. The Cowboys have a pretty terrible offensive line, I'll say that, but the Raiders are about to go play with all second stringers, so.
And they play the Bucks. They play the Bucks this weekend, who have a very good defensive line, so.
Yeah, I mean, and then Ndamukong Suh, who we know is like.
He will tear Derek Carr's head off.
Yeah, he'll probably he'll probably kick you in the nuts or he'll try and stomp on your head. I don't know, but we're up to Derek Carr this week. If he's alive after, that's gonna be nice to know.
Yeah, but transitioning from our news to the picks. I picked up 2 games on you, so you're only 3 up right now. So
we have to bounce back this week, man.
I still need to catch up a little bit, but kicking off with Thursday Night Football. We're recording it today, but the Thursday night game happened last night. Really crappy matchup, if you ask me. The Giants come to Philadelphia. Who we like it? I can go ahead and start. I'm going to say the Eagles get their second win of the season.
I have to agree with you, but I can't say the team because I can't stand that team. It's just the Giants aren't good, man. The Giants suck. I mean, the Giants were a 2-point conversion away from losing to the Washington football team. Suck. Terrible.
And then moving from NFC, I'll let you take the next one since
we're in the NFC East. Don't matter. Cowboys at Washington. God only knows what the hell is going to happen. I mean, the Cowboys are down almost every single position. Washington has their own injuries as well. I'm assuming Kyle Allen's starting again.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I have to take my Cowboys here. This is probably one of the few times I'm going to take them the rest of this season.
I want to pick against you, but Washington's terrible.
Yeah.
The NFC East should just be relegated to the MAC. That's our episode title. That's a good episode title.
NFC East relegated to the MAC.
Let's go. I'm gonna go Dallas as well, though. I think Dallas gets the win.
Yeah. Go ahead, take the next one.
So this is the blown game bowl. Detroit and Atlanta. Who will blow this lead? Lions coming in at 2-3, Falcons 1-5. I think Falcons get their second win of the season. I'm gonna take Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think after I mean we kind of see this, usually the first few games after the head coach gets fired and a new coach kind of comes in, the energy is a little bit better. I think Atlanta coming off the hot week against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Atlanta. Next one, a battle of Ohio, battle of the Chili's, battle of the 2 best cities of all time. I was about to say Cincinnati Browns. The Cleveland Browns versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Just another one of those matchups you just don't want to watch.
Tough game to pick.
It is a tough game to pick. I'm going to have to go Cleveland here. I just don't think Cincinnati. I know you want to take Cleveland. I'm high on Cincinnati, but I don't think. Sorry, Joe Burrow.
Reverse psychology. I actually wanted to take Cincinnati, and that's who I'm going to pick. I think they played the Thursday night game in week 2, and it was really close. Cincinnati, Cleveland's a little bit, like you said, Cleveland's banged up. I'm going to go Cincinnati here.
I would love to take Cincinnati, but after blowing that lead to Phillip Rivers, it makes it hard to.
I think they bounce back, but probably the game of the week, even though it doesn't really feel like the game of the week. I guess we have. I mean, both teams 5-0. Winner gets sole control of the AFC as the number 1 seed. Pittsburgh at Tennessee. Both teams 5-0. I'm gonna go with Tennessee here.
I have to agree with you. I know you didn't want to hear that, but I think Tennessee just dominates with their run game. I know Pittsburgh's very good at handling the run game, but I think they have what it takes.
I still don't think Pittsburgh's a legit team, though. That's my thing.
I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is a legit quarterback. I think the defense is carrying that team, and I think he's just there as a little bit of help, and that's what they need him for, and that's fine.
I think they'll be a playoff team, no doubt. I mean, you're 5-0. Like, you're just even if they struggle, I mean, they'll probably still finish like at least 10-6, and that'll get you a playoff spot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I could see them go 9-7 as well. So we'll definitely see what happens. Next one, heading down south to Mardi Gras, New Orleans. Panthers at Saints. Panthers 3-3, kind of the surprise of the year already. Saints 3-2. This is a tough game. I really think that the Saints have regressed over the past couple weeks. I don't think Drew Brees. I think you're seeing him in his final year. I would love to take both teams in a tie. Not that it's going to happen. I think the Saints get the victory, but it's not close. All right, excuse me, it is close.
Yeah,
all of that ramble and just pick the Saints. That's me.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I hate to agree, but I need to make up games. But I think the Saints they're gonna win. So
yeah.
But then moving into the Battle of New York for our next game, do the Jets get their first win or do the Bills rebound?
Us. The Bills are gonna jump through a table on the Jets.
The Bills are playing pissed off. Shout out to my Chiefs. They played pretty solid against them on Monday. Bills got crushed against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. This game really, I don't think is close. I think the Bills I kind of want to see the Jets not score again. It'd be fun to have them have a goose egg 2 weeks in a row. Wouldn't you agree?
21-0.
I'm thinking 35-0.
It might be.
It's Bills. Bills are winning.
Next game is the Packers, who came off their worst defeat. Obviously, I know they're 4-1, but they got killed by the Bucks at the Texans. I have to go Packs. Go Pack, go.
I picked Houston a lot this year. I can't pick them again. I'm gonna go Packers.
Yeah, it's just not a fun game.
Yeah,
that's it. Next game, shoot.
Next game, the COVID game of the week. So Tampa Bay traveling to Vegas. So this not even a question who I'm picking. Tampa Bay is gonna win.
Yeah, the Bucks are gonna bring the cannons and they're gonna shoot the cannons all up in the Raiders' faces. Just not a fun matchup. Not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I wish. If you're a Raiders fan, I'm sorry. Next game, Chiefs at Broncos. I'm gonna let you take this one because I have my own thoughts.
I think I know who. Yeah, it's. I think it's gonna be a close game. We always play the Broncos really close. A division rivalry game. I think there's a chance of snow in Denver on Sunday, so we could get our first snow game of the year. I mean, it's supposed to snow here in Kansas City, so. I'm going to go Chiefs. 25th. Yeah, earliest I've ever seen snow. Probably going to be the earliest I've ever seen snow.
So my thoughts.
I'm going to pick Chiefs. And what are your thoughts?
I'm going to agree with you on the Chiefs, but I think this is going to be a very close game. I mean, you told me a few weeks ago that the Chiefs played divisional opponents close. And even if there's a few upsets here and there, I think the Chiefs obviously win this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at like a 20 to probably 20-17 game.
Yeah.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you take the next one.
49ers at Patriots. 49ers 3-3. This is a very interesting game. Patriots 2-3. 49ers beat up, but they did kind of come off an upset against the Rams. Patriots have been struggling, it seems like. I have the 49ers in this one, but once again, I think it's going to be a close game.
Wow. I'm going to go Patriots. I was really thinking you're going to go 49ers, but I'm kind of surprised you picked. I know you're a Belichick fan, so.
I am a Bill Belichick fan, and I would love to pick the Patriots here, but I think they just don't have an offense that's going to be moving the ball down the field a lot, and I think that's obviously going to be a big struggle.
Yeah. Moving into our next game. Boy, this ain't going to be fun to watch. The 1-5 Jaguars against the 1-4 Chargers. Jags making that cross country road trip. If you're a fan of both of these teams, you're probably more optimistic if you're a Chargers fan because you got the young quarterback. Gardner Minshew was showing signs of flashes of greatness, but I'm gonna take LA here. I think the Chargers get the win.
Dun, 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 dun. Charge! Give me the Chargers.
Okay, Colonel.
That was really clever by me, and I think I got to give myself props for that one. Our now flexed into Sunday night game, Seahawks 5-0 at Cardinals 4-2. This is a tough matchup. I mean, Minnesota played Seattle a couple weeks ago, and Minnesota showed up in the first half, disappeared in the second. Cardinals coming off of a nice, clean victory. Damn it. I think it's going to be another shootout like the Cowboy game. I'm struggling here. Go ahead and pick why I struggle.
I mean, it is your turn to pick first, but
damn it. I was trying to see what you would take. I have the Seahawks here. I'm not so sure about this one, but I see Seattle just being 5-0.
You mean 6-0?
6-0. Seattle 6-0.
Trying to play smart this week, but I'm trying to play safe at the same time. I'm playing a very safe week in our picks. I'm gonna pick Seattle as well. I think Cardinals came off a huge win. You know, they're a good team, but I think the Seahawks are they're gonna be a 13 or 14 win team this year. I just don't know. I don't know when they'll lose, but it's not gonna be this week.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. And then give us our Monday night game.
Monday night game, Bears against the Rams. Pretty good matchup. Probably going to be a very defensive matchup, I would say. Another tough one. These games are getting tough to pick. I'm gonna take the Rams. I think they bounce back from the loss against the 49ers. I think they get the win against the Bears, so I'm gonna go Rams.
I'm actually gonna go opposite of you. I have to go Chicago. If there were fans at this game, I'd pick the Rams. I just think with no fans, Chicago's defense is obviously playing very well. I think we see a fun defensive matchup on Monday night.
Yeah, for sure.
And then give us our other news of the week.
So yeah, we not much other sports news, but the Zozo Championship kicking off for golf this week. It's usually played in Japan. Shout out to Tiger Woods, who actually won this event last year in Japan, but they can't play it obviously over there, so they're playing at Sherwood Country Club in California. Stacked field. It's probably, you don't usually get these fields in the fall events. My pick, I think I'm 0 for like a lot on our podcast picks for golf for me. I'm gonna go Xander Schauffele this week. I think he gets a win. He looks like he's in great form. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We're counting down the weeks to Augusta. I know I am. Being the crazy golf nerd I am, I'm excited for the Masters to come up here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't really make a difference. I would love to see this tournament be playing in Hawaii.
They don't do that till January, but you know.
Do they play a tournament in Hawaii?
They do 2 weeks in Hawaii in like early to mid-January. So.
Didn't know that. That's good to know. I actually had no idea. I couldn't tell you who wins. Couldn't tell you who loses.
That's why they call me the golf expert here on this show.
Masters, rest of the golf. That's it. That's how much I care about golf. Masters, it's like a roller coaster and it just goes downhill. US Open, downhill. PGA Championship, downhill. That's it. Give me your first bet of the week. Oh, also don't take any of us advice because I don't gamble. Espen does. 50-50 for him.
No, it's like a couple times a year, but you know. But starting out with the college game this week, why am I picking this game? Kansas is a 19.5 point underdog to the Kansas State Wildcats. I think they cover the spread somehow. Don't ask me how it'll happen. Man. It could either be like a 17-point game or K-State might win by 50 points. They might put. We just lost our running back, the only good running back we've had in 10 years. So shout out to Kansas football, striving.
Yeah, my first pick of the week is 49ers at Patriots. Patriots a 2-point favorite. I have 49ers covering the spread, and like I said earlier, 49ers winning. Give me your second one.
Like I said earlier, Tampa Bay playing a banged up Vegas team. They're 3.5 point favorites. I'm gonna pick Tampa to cover the spread. It might get ugly in Vegas, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I honestly could see Tampa having like 6 or 7 sacks in this game.
Yeah, it might get ugly.
Yeah, we're up to Derek Carr. Like I said, if you hear about Derek Carr dying, it's because the Raiders' offense line got COVID. Notre Dame, a 10.5 point favorite versus Pittsburgh. I don't think Notre Dame is that great. They're showing their true colors. They're waiting to choke. I have Pittsburgh.
Interesting pick. I know you're very anti Notre Dame.
I am so anti Notre Dame, and it's not because I'm a Jew. It's I just their football team is not legit. Give me your third pick.
Yeah, going into my final bet, Green Bay 3.5 point favorites over Houston. I think Green Bay they bounce back. They got absolutely boat raced by Tampa. So Packers winning in Houston. Who is your final bet?
My last pick is for tonight's game, the LA Dodgers versus Tampa Bay Rays, over under 7.5, which seems awfully low considering baseball is it's not a low scoring game anymore. So I have the over there. Those are our bets of the week. Now I'm going to turn it over to Espen to introduce our special interview guest.
Yeah, so we were both really excited to talk to this special someone, our first professional athlete on the show. We teased it a little bit earlier in the week on our social medias. But we got to interview Stephen Jaeger, who is a professional golfer, played on the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour. He's one of he's one of two players to ever shoot 58. So it is really interesting to hear kind of what his thought process was shooting that low score. We also talked about how his college golf growing up in Germany. Kind of some other fun questions in there. We'll let you listen to those, but super excited to have him on. Again, we can't thank him enough for having him on, and it was fun to talk to him.
Yeah, for sure. Really nice guy as well. And then following our guest for today's episode, Monday, we have another special interview guest. So be sure to stay on for that. But yeah, now introducing Stephen Jaeger.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, take care, man.
See you later. All right, so we are here with a very special guest today, our first ever professional athlete coming on our podcast. We are joined by Stephen Jaeger, who has played in many PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour events. He is recently coming off a tied for second at the Orange County National Championship in Orlando, Florida. And he's also most well known for shooting a 58, one of only two players here on the PGA or Korn Ferry Tour to do so. So, how are you doing, Stephen?
Good. I'm relaxed at home. We always have a couple weeks off now, or a couple months. So I'm just kind of getting used to the home life. We don't get to, spend too much time at home, but it's good. I'm enjoying kind of staying at home and hanging out with the friends that we normally don't get to see very often.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Sure, it's nice to have a little bit of an off season now and relax a little bit and get some time away from the game. But yeah, if we want to start rolling into our questions we have for you. So the first question we have is, who inspired you to get into the game of golf, and who are some of the greats that you've always looked up to?
Well, inspired, I would probably say my family. We, my mom and dad always played on vacation, and my sister was a pretty good golfer, and she's like 13 years older than me. So I was introduced to driving golf carts pretty early, and that was a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kid was about the best thing I could think of. So I just pretty much watched on vacation a lot, and finally the bug hit me when I was probably 9 or 10 and got my first set of golf clubs then. And didn't take me long to kind of get better and play a lot. We lived pretty close to a golf course at home in Germany. And yeah, if you have friends on the golf course that early, I think, we'd spend 10 hours out there every weekend. And I wouldn't say it was all practice. It was more like running around and hitting a couple chips and putts in there, and just having a good time with as a kid. So as professional golfers, I don't think I had that in my sight until I was probably 13 or 14. And I guess Keimer wasn't really that. He wasn't really. He's only 3 or 4 years older than me, so he wasn't really like that prominent then. I mean, I would say probably Tiger. I mean, Tiger's, 2000s, early 2000s is where I kind of got the bug and got really into competitive golf and amateur golf and stuff. So it's a cliche, but it's, he was so prominent back then that anybody in my age group probably would think, hey, this is cool. I want to do this. And yeah, that's probably pretty much the number one.
Awesome for sure. And like you said, you grew up in Germany. So what was it like playing golf there and growing up there and then making that transition to UT Chattanooga?
Well, obviously, the amateur circuit is a little different there because schools don't really have golf teams and high school teams don't really exist that much. I mean, we had a school team, but it wasn't competitive. We'd meet like once a month and play around every once. We'd have, I think, one tournament, and the level play was pretty bad. So once you kind of grow out of the local town, you go in I would say, I guess, the state team. For us as Bavaria is the state, that I grew up in, and that's a little more competitive. And you play against the other states in Germany and stuff. And next level would be German golf team, which you would play international events and all that. And I did all that when I was, 15, 16. And I actually came over for high school for 2 years in Chattanooga. And kind of that's where, that the love of competitiveness and the back of my mind, I knew I kind of wanted to do college here and do an exchange here, kind of learn language and see what, how much you have in golf. I mean, that's the best players in the world pretty much go to the States at any time. And yeah, ended up I was supposed to just do 1 year here and then go back and finish school in Germany and then maybe do college, depending how it goes. And I stayed for the second year and graduated at the Baylor School here in Chattanooga. And yeah, had a couple offers. I mean, it wasn't, I wasn't highly recruited just because I'd only been, here my junior and senior year, and all the good colleges, recruit early on. I mean, they've got freshmen, sophomore in high school already committing. And so, it wasn't like highly recruited. And I picked the local hometown where I just kind of felt comfortable. My parents felt comfortable with me staying here. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great road. I love this town. I think it's a great golf town. I think, I'm not a big town, like big city guy. I grew up in a smaller town in Germany, and it just kind of fit my lifestyle and what I was used to and stuff. So I'm happy with the decision of, coming over and doing all that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely cool.
Yeah, and then kind of transitioning into your professional career, you had a successful golf career at Chattanooga, but you've played a lot of tournaments on the PGA and Korn Ferry Tour. And what would you say some of the biggest differences are between the two tours?
I think competitiveness. I think the top players on the Korn Ferry, you can see in the last couple of years, they compete. They compete on the PGA Tour pretty early. I think it's all about getting comfortable. And just being comfortable playing with some names that you watch. I mean, it's kind of different than watching on TV than playing with them on Saturday and Sunday. You got to be very confident in your game and what you have and what you're doing. And I think the only golf courses may be a little harder to score. And you got to realize those guys out there, some of them have been out there for 15, 20 years. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no like, I feel a little different today. I wonder what that is. It's worked for them. They've been super successful, and you've got to beat a lot of them a lot of times. So it's just hard. I mean, any time you go to a higher college or like higher level, it's harder to beat somebody. You just try to get better and try to improve and get more comfortable the longer you go out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And kind of, I guess speaking, the competition hasn't changed. The environment has, though, because of COVID. So what's it like playing with no fans? Do you think there's do you have to adjust to it? Or is it just like, okay, go hit the ball like usual?
Well, for us on the Korn Ferry Tour, I don't think, we don't get the thousands of fans that they do on the PGA Tour or some of the, U.S. Open, for instance, or the Masters. So I wouldn't say it's that big of a difference. And I think if you ask somebody like Tiger or somebody, the bigger guys that get huge crowds, I think it depends. If you feed off the crowds, Tiger's done that for all of his career, that he just kind of feeds off the energy they give him and stuff, and then cheers and stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to beat each other. We're trying to beat the golf course, and it doesn't. I don't think it makes you more nervous playing in front of people. I think you're kind of getting used to that after your first couple of years of professional golf. And there's a reason you're inside the ropes and most of the fans are outside the ropes, you know. So it's once you kind of realize that, it's pretty self-explanatory why some people don't, they don't care if there's thousands of fans there, because you get zeroed in on what you want to do. So for us, it's not really the big difference. Obviously on tour, it's probably a little different, but we don't really get that many fans on the Corn Ferry events.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and going back a few years ago, to probably what you're most well known for is only you and Jim Furyk are the only two guys to ever shot a 58 here in the United States in a round. So my question for you is, what was that day like for you, and what were you thinking while playing that round at the Ellie Mae Classic? Like, were you thinking about making history that day, or just kind of what was the whole thought process?
Well, it's actually interesting because I went into that week. I think it was like late July, I think. And I went in that week, and I haven't played good all year. I mean, I think it was like 106 maybe on the money list. So I was just trying to get a good finish. I was trying to keep my Corn Ferry card at the time, and just trying to, like I said earlier, get better. You know, you want to get better in every level. And the year before I finished like 86 on the money list, and I just wanted to wanted a place to play the next year. So nothing felt really different on Wednesday, or, started off pretty normal on Thursday. I mean, I birdied like maybe 2 out of the first 4. And then I went on a pretty hard run, I think, through the next 4 holes. I was birdie the next 4 holes. I think I shot 6 under on the front, which is 29 there, because it's 35 and 35. So, 29 is great, but it's been done before. I mean, plenty of people shot 29 on 9 holes. So you're like, hey, I want to keep this going. I want to kind of keep making birdies and whatever. And I birdied 1 and 2 right out of the gate, or my 10th and 11th hole, which is 1 and 2 there. And you're 8 under. You're like, okay, this is pretty good. Coming to par 5, and I actually hit it on the green in 2 and a par 5. Pretty easy par 5. It's like a 5-iron. But I put it like on the wrong level on the green, and it was very slopey, and it was almost impossible to get it within 10 feet. So I actually three putted my 12th hole, and I was like, dang it. You kind of – it was in the back of my mind, and you're like, God, that would have been the one that you get to 9 under, and they've got 6 holes left, and you got to make 2 birdies to shoot 59. And I birdied like the next 3. I think, yeah, it was the next 3. So I was 11 under going into 16. And, you're just trying to – obviously you're playing good. So you're just trying to give yourself opportunities to make birdies without having a chance to make a bogey. So, you're trying to hit it on the bigger side of the green and trying to get yourself a good look at it. And I made a good up and down on 16, and I had a 45-footer on 17 that lag to like a foot. So it wasn't like great birdie chances. I was just like, hey, par in 59, I'll take it. I wasn't, 58 was not in my mind. The history was not in my mind. I had no clue what the lowest score was on the PGA Tour. 9 is kind of like this par 5 where there's some bunkers coming in on the left that you easily can reach with a driver, but you could also reach the green in 2 if you had a really good drive and a really good 3-wood. But at the time, man, I just, 59 is one of those you want to get in that club, especially if you're going down the last, you got to make par at worst. So I had 3-wood off to keep it short of the bunkers, laid up, had 90 yards. And, honestly, the only thing I think they have from that day that I shot 58 on video is my last putt. So I hit my wedge to, 12 feet. And, on a day like that, you've got a pretty easy downhill 12-footer. The chances are it's going in. So after that, you're kind of like, dang, this was pretty special. Late tee time, it's 7:00. I'm doing a bunch of interviews, and but even after a round, I was like, you know what, that's great, this is awesome. But like, I've got to win this golf tournament. I think that week for some reason was the scores were really low. I think 8 under was second. I was 12, so it wasn't like I had a 10-shot lead. So I really had to come back and refocus on winning a golf tournament. I ended up obviously winning and kind of turning my season around. But I think winning that golf tournament was bigger than the 58 for sure for my career.
That's awesome. Yeah. Just kind of talking about the overall perspective instead of one round.
Yeah.
That being said, what was your favorite course in Germany, or what is your favorite course in Germany? And then the same question goes for here in the U.S. What's your favorite course to play?
I mean, I would say in Germany, I haven't really played.
Or Europe as a whole, not just Germany.
I mean, I've played a couple in Europe. Germany, I would say my home course, in just near Munich, where I grew up. They have a BMW International Open there every year on the European Tour. So it's a great golf course. They've done a good job over the last 5 or 10 years to kind of keep up with the trend. And I've played Valderrama, is probably one of the better ones I've played in Europe. But this is also like probably 10, 12, 13 years ago than I played. I haven't really traveled that much in Europe to play, just because I've been focused on here, and I've been, trying to get on the PGA Tour rather than the European Tour. In the States, I say this every time, and I don't know why, but I know why, but Pebble is probably number one. It's just, I'm kind of a landscape guy, and like, you go on the, you go play 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're like, Jesus, there's not much better than that. It's just, I love Carmel. I love the area. Honestly, all the golf courses there are awesome. Played the Pebble Beach AT&T a couple of times, and it's just a special area, special golf course, especially with the history, and it's awesome. It's probably one of my favorites in the world, honestly. But I'm a big California golf course guy. Like, I like Riviera. I've never played good there, but I still like it. Love Torrey once again. I mean, you're on the Pacific coast. It's pretty special. But yeah, I think I could play in California a lot and love a lot of golf courses for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And then turning to more of a fun question. So kind of who would be your ultimate or dream foursome if you like any like you could play at Pebble or any course, like who would be the ultimate foursome to have for you?
Yeah, I think you would just kind of go cliche here. I would love to play with Arnie. Arnie was probably one of the ones I really wanted to play. And then, I mean, Tiger. He was the idol that people my age kind of grew up on. I don't know. I think that, and maybe a buddy of mine that I could share that experience with. And it's just those two have done so much for the game. And obviously Arnie's not with us anymore, but it's just, you can see it all the time with the impact that they've had on everybody, and it'd just be cool to pick their brains and, hey, what are you thinking there? And the experience they all had, be cool. The playing with Tiger is not over yet. I think I've got a couple more years to maybe get paired with him on a weekend somewhere. And that will be a very different but cool experience. I've had buddies that play with him and said he's really, really good to play with, especially for a guy that's maybe not well known and not top of the world. Very cordial and very understands that it's nervous for us too. We're playing with our idol. So it's definitely a cool deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a golf lover's question. That one for sure. So currently you're 8th on the Corn Ferry Tour. I'm pretty sure that means you get a PGA card. I don't exactly know how it works, but if so, what are the plans for the rest of this year and then as we move into 2021?
Yeah, this year is pretty simple. I think you just kind of keep grinding, working on the same things that I've been working on the last couple of months, and playing a couple Mondays, and hopefully get in, play an event or two. But our schedule hasn't come out yet. It should come out next week or two. We start in January, so it's, go play as well as you can. I've won one this year, so I'd have to play. You have to win 2 more to get the automatic promotion. It's hard, and it's there's only been 2 guys that won twice this year, so I think there's going to be one or 2 guys that do the 3-win promotion, but the end plan is to be on tour in the fall next year. And I've given myself a good opportunity coming next August to tee it up in Napa and go up there and play the first event of the 21-22 season. That's pretty much the end goal until then, and then we'll reset our goals and see where we can go from there.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And then I just have a couple quick questions that weren't on the list. Mm-hmm. How do you change your mindset between playing on a Thursday and Friday and then on the weekend? Do you stay conservative? Do you be aggressive? What's that typically like for you?
Well, it depends really about how I'm playing. Like if I'm playing terrible on Thursday, Friday, it's kind of like give yourself a lot of opportunities, kind of try to get somewhere maybe where you can play and make some birdies and figure it out after the round, So if I feel like I'm playing good and I've got really control over my golf ball, I play pretty aggressively when it needs to. But I also want to kind of have a no stress round. You kind of want to, if I would make 6 birdies around, no bogeys, I'm going to have a pretty good chance of winning. But it really depends how your game feels. We feel that pretty quickly. On like, hey, I have pretty good control over my golf ball now, and I'm putting good and everything. And some weeks it's just golf. You can't really start online, or you can't read the greens or whatever. So you just kind of adjust on how you feel, and that's what the best players in the world do. I mean, if they had the A game every week, they would win every week. So you just got to figure out what's good and what's bad that week, or what's mediocre, and play around that and make as many birdies and least amount of bogeys you can.
Gotcha, for sure. And then my second quick question is, what's your favorite club? Everyone has a favorite club.
Yeah, I've kind of, I don't know, I like chipping. Chipping is kind of probably my best part of my game. So I kind of use my sandwich a lot, different shots and stuff. And that's probably one of my favorite clubs. But I've been driving the ball really well the last 2 months. So driver actually has become one of the clubs that I really like pulling and hitting it hard and trying to hit it as far as possible. And it just depends. If I don't putt well, I hate my putter. And if I don't,
I think everyone can agree with you.
I hate my irons. So it's for us, we play so much golf. It's not like, the normal amateur has like, I love my 7-iron, but I can't hit my 6-iron. Well, it's kind of the same club. It's just a little less loft. So we don't really have like favorite clubs. It's more like favorite parts of the game, I would think.
Gotcha, for sure. And then my last quick question is, are you a Bayern Munich fan?
Yeah, I used to be a big fan when I was living in Germany. I've kind of lost a little bit of, kind of touch with the Bundesliga and all that. But anytime they play and it's on TV, I'll watch it. But it's harder to keep up here than it is in Germany.
Do you think they win the Champions League again this season?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like saying that, they're one of the best teams in Europe every year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's probably between them and 3 other teams. So they've got a pretty good chance. Let's just say that.
Awesome. Espen, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, it was really interesting to listen to you. I'm a huge golf fan. I've been following the PGA Tour and Corn Ferry too for about 7, 8 years now. I want to hopefully get involved with golf in my future. So it was really cool having you come on the show as our first professional athlete as we try and grow our brand a little bit.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate it, and thank you.
Thanks.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you.
Take care.